Can you hear me now? I think you're going to say yes. Can you hear me now? Somebody say, yes, I can hear you. I can definitely hear you. Of course I can hear you. Why wouldn't I be able to hear you? No one is saying, oh my gosh, yes. This is what happened. I installed better software than what I was using. And I spent hours today setting this up. And then I went live on Twitch earlier to make sure it works. And I didn't want to do it on YouTube. I did it on Twitch to make sure it works. It worked perfectly. Well, YouTube ain't Twitch. YouTube is way, way more difficult than Twitch. Hi, guys. It's Cassie. I hope you're doing well. Guys, this is the orangest thing I could find. And I'm a mess. I'm a mess because I'm working so hard. This is the orangest thing I could find because it's Linus's birthday. Happy birthday, Linus. Linus, happy birthday. Yeah, I don't know how to add the opening yet, Kelly. I'm working on it. When I hit start stream, it was supposed to ask me if I wanted to schedule it. It was supposed to ask me a whole bunch of questions. And instead, it just started the stream. So, but thank you for, pointing that out. My mods. I'm telling you, my mods. They're there. All right. I think I can figure that out. I just gotta figure it out. But what I really want to make sure I figure out today is how to put the chats onto the screen, which I don't have to. It didn't work in Twitch today. Yep, Kelly, I got it. Yep. Thank you for pointing that out. All right. I know. Everything else should be fine. Today, we're starting a trial in Judge Eric's courtroom for Linus's birthday. Linus, this is the orangest thing I could find. I hope everybody's wearing orange. If you're not, go and put orange on, because today it's all about Linus. Because she's getting senile in her old age. So this might be the last birthday she actually remembers. Hopefully, if she does her birthday right, she will not remember today at all. I really want to figure out how to put chat on the screen. And I'm going to during this stream. Let's start this court. Let's just start it and see if...
With constant Crowell's hardware than one instance of somebody twisting her foot until the hardware broke.
Do you hear that? You should hear it.
That is more probable.
Mr. DeCecco talked to you a bit about somebody breaking hardware with their bare hands, and he said that if bones are fused, or if bones are fused properly, then the hardware cannot be broken by human hands.
Correct. The hardware spans a joint and
some of this is I can't think of the word. Help me figure out the word. Sensitive adult related content. This is domestic violence case, and she's going to describe how he controlled her and some of the things that he did, and she's going to say words that are she's going to describe body parts and things that come out of some of those body parts. So she's not on the stand yet, but once she gets on the stand, it gets,
it's compression. So if the joint has healed together as one solid bone, there's only solid bone under that hardware and no point of motion. So at that point, the hardware should not be able to break unless the bone beneath it also broke.
Thank you. But when we're talking about some space here, because there's non-union, I sensed some hesitancy when you were answering whether an adult male could break that with his bare hands.
It would be unlikely.
And you say it would be unlikely because even the strongest male, we're thinking Hulk Hogan here, would need 960 pounds of pressure at once, which is a pretty incredible amount of strength.
Yeah, that's what the website manufacturers publish as the amount of strength to failure.
For this specific hardware.
Correct.
Okay, so now you have that little premise. Her and her boyfriend got into a fight. And, he slams her down on the ground, of course, and is slamming her head on the ground, of course, and, pushing her head in as he gets up, of course. But then she had gotten to some accidents, and her bones in her foot were healing. And she takes both bone growth stimulator every day to try to heal this. And he grabs her ankle, grabs her foot, squeezes and twists it, and it pops. So now she has to go through surgeries to fix the hardware that is broken in her foot. Now this doctor just got on the stand and said that it would take 700 pounds of pressure to break that hardware, to pop it. So we missed the beginning, the preamble up to that. So, this doctor is saying it probably wasn't done by him. Her foot magically being broken, her hardware magically being broken all of a sudden, probably wasn't done by him. So other people are going to say different things, but this doctor right here, that is what she just said. Okay, now we all caught up?
Okay, thank you for letting us know. You talked with Mr. DeCecco about how Constance Crowell was cleared to bear weight on July 18th, 2024, if she were wearing a supportive shoe and her insoles.
Yes.
It's still your practice to recommend for somebody with Constance's pre-existing condition, no high weight bearing activity.
Yes, correct.
No jumping, no running.
Yes, limited activity.
No dancing.
Yeah, I define it as light activity, and usually my definitions around that is walking, swimming, biking, no running, jumping.
Before she was cleared to bear weight for light activity, she was primarily supposed to be wearing an orthopedic boot.
Yes.
Okay. And that would have been a long time. That would have been the years that you the years that you treated her, 2022, 2023.
Well, just since her first surgery in 23, but she kind of became lost to follow-up that summer of 23.
Got it.
So I never gave direction one way or another until I saw her again in 24.
And lost to follow-up means that she did not attend her follow-up appointments, right?
Correct.
Between July 18th, 2024, and that visit on October 8th, 2024, she missed her follow-up appointments between that time.
Yes.
So you did not see her as often as you would have liked, given that her right foot had all these complications.
Correct.
And Ms. Crowell was also very accident prone.
She had several falls, injuries, car accidents. A lot of events occurred.
She even had falls after the November revision surgery. So this would have been after she alleged the assault.
Yes.
She had a fall on November 27th, 2024.
She did.
If she were weight bearing when she was strictly told not to, that could impact the healing of her foot.
Absolutely.
So anytime that you wrote a report, you had a subjective section, and that is when Miss Crowell would report to you whether she was bearing weight.
Correct.
There was a time she reported to you that she wasn't bearing weight, but she had actually driven herself to the appointment, which is considered bearing weight.
Correct.
Was there another time when she came into the appointment in slippers without any sort of orthopedic boot?
Yes.
Additionally, between the November 1st, 2024 revision surgery and December 9th, during your follow-up of her, she said that she was not bearing any weight.
She did report not bearing weight, yes.
Okay. And then we're talking a lot about an alleged assault and her hardware failing. You cannot say if or when, I guess you can say if, because we saw the radiographs. You cannot say when in between July 18th, 2024 and October 8th, 2024, when that plate broke.
I cannot.
And it's more likely it broke under repeated stress.
So that is more probable.
And so fast forward to after she had her third or fourth revision surgery, her hardware failed again this year between December 2024 and April 3rd, 2025.
It did.
Okay. Finally, one second. Finally, you said that she appeared in your office on October 8th, 2024 with swelling to her right foot. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Foot pain?
Correct.
And she felt and heard a pop.
That's what she reported, yes.
I wanted to go back to that twisting injury fall that you noted in 2022, the one that happened on a treadmill.
Yes.
The treadmill injury was an accident.
Yes.
And there was also, in that case, swelling. Was there also swelling?
Correct. Yes.
She reported an immense amount of pain.
Yes.
And she said she felt and heard a pop.
Yes.
So we have two situations. One is an alleged accident, falling off a treadmill. The other one is an alleged assault, and you are objectively seeing the same symptoms.
Yes.
Okay. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, redirect.
No, Your Honor.
All right, any questions for this witness from the jury? Seeing none, thank you very much, doctor. You can take your water with you, leave the paper. Mr. DeCecco will grab that or whatever it was. 3, 4, and 5 will go on the table. Next witness.
People call Dr. Stacy Trent.
All right, come this way. And then you're going to head towards this chair. And before you sit down, if you'd raise your right hand for me, do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury the testimony you're about to give this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much. Have a seat. Now, the entire base on the, there you go, it'll move. I just want to make sure that you probably have to pull a little closer to you. I want to make sure you're speaking right into it. There's some water down there by your left knee if you would like. Would you tell me your first and last name and spell those, please?
Stacy Trent, Stacytrent.
Thank you very much. Your witness.
Good afternoon, Dr. Trent. Where are you employed?
At Denver Health.
And what is your position at Denver Health?
I'm an emergency physician.
What education did you have to go through to become an emergency physician?
I completed undergraduate as well as medical school, and then completed residency in emergency medicine as well.
How long have you worked as an emergency physician?
I completed my training in 2012 and have been working since then.
Have you worked at other hospitals besides Denver Health?
I have.
Do you have any kind of specialty focus within the field of emergency medicine?
I do a fair amount of clinical research, specifically around airway management and trauma.
And as an emergency physician, what kind of patients do you treat?
I treat whatever comes in the door. So anything from children with coughs and colds to major trauma, cardiac arrest, strokes, whatever walks in.
And have you testified before as
I
an
have.
expert in emergency medicine?
Yes, I have.
Was that here in Denver?
Yes.
I want to draw your attention to October 7th, 2024. Were you working in the emergency department that day?
Yes.
And did you treat a patient by the name of Constance Crowell?
Yes, I did.
And what did you see her for on that day?
She came in for an assault.
What injuries did she report to you at that time?
She reported that she had struck her head and that she was having a headache and also had some extremity pain in her foot and I believe in her elbow and knee.
Did you did you assess her for a suspected concussion?
Yes, we did.
And why did you suspect a possible concussion?
She had obviously struck her head. She had had an abrasion over her forehead with a small bruise, was complaining of a headache, felt fuzzy, so had symptoms of a concussion. She didn't have more serious symptoms or signs that she had a more serious traumatic brain injury, but the combination of both those symptoms and a direct strike to the head would suggest that she'd have a mild concussion.
And is it fair to say you're not like a forensic nurse?
I am not a forensic
Okay.
nurse.
So did you take any photographs of the bruise?
No, I did not.
Do you recall what it looked like?
I do not.
Okay. But it was do you remember what side of the forehead it was on?
I believe it was on the right side.
Did she tell you how she sustained the injury that she was reporting?
She told us that she had been in an altercation with her significant other and that she had been punched and tackled.
Did she describe any discomfort on any of her knees?
I would have to go back to my notes. I don't know. I don't remember.
I just have one moment. Would it refresh your memory to review her chart?
That'd be great.
Okay.
Great, thank you. So yeah, she complained of some left knee pain.
Did she describe pain anywhere else that you recall?
As well as in her right ankle.
Okay. What did you do based on the concerns regarding her foot pain?
She had an x-ray.
Do you remember how she described the pain in her foot?
I do not.
Okay. And based on the x-ray, was it determined there was some fractures?
Yeah, she had had prior surgery on her foot and had a metal plate inserted, and that metal plate had broken.
Just one moment. How was her demeanor when you were speaking with her?
I don't remember personally, but I can read from my notes if that's okay.
Would reviewing your notes refresh your memory?
Sure.
Okay. If you can just turn the page over and your memory's refreshed.
So it's not, I don't have it documented in my notes about her demeanor.
Okay. Is it fair to say you treat hundreds of patients in the emergency department?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember your interactions with all of them?
No.
Okay. That would be very difficult, wouldn't it? No further questions.
Cross-examination?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So you testified that Ms. Crowell came in on October 7th, 2024,
Yes.
and that was for an assault.
Yes.
But when you say she came in for an assault, that's self-reported, right?
Yes.
You weren't able to witness this altercation?
No.
Okay. And You said there was a suspected concussion. However, it wasn't more serious. Can you explain what that distinction?
Sure. There are well-validated decision rules when we decide to image someone's head with a CAT scan, for example. A CAT scan does not show evidence of a concussion. It shows evidence of a skull fracture or of bleeding around or in the brain sustained from a trauma. Those would be more serious traumatic brain injuries. A concussion is symptoms following a head trauma that do not have those signs or symptoms of a more serious injury.
Okay. And then you described discomfort to the knees
Yes.
that she reported, as well as a bump on her head,
Mhm.
and that she had a prior surgery on her foot. So those things could be caused by a fall, correct?
Could a head injury and pain of her knee be caused by a fall?
Yes.
Yes, they could.
And you asked her if she wanted to file a police report.
I don't believe I asked her, but our social worker would have, or one of our nurses.
Okay. And do you know if she wanted to file a police report at that time?
I do not know.
Okay. And you said you didn't document her demeanor, but do you remember if she was, kind of limping, or if she had a scooter or a boot on or anything like that?
I believe we discharged her with a boot because she was having difficulty ambulating.
Okay. But when she came in, she didn't have a boot on?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. And she didn't have the little scooter that could assist?
I don't believe so.
Okay. No further questions. Okay.
All right, redirect.
You were asked if regarding being discharged with a boot. Do you remember or know at what time she was discharged that day?
I do not.
Do you remember what time of day you treated her?
I do not.
Would reviewing the chart refresh your memory on that?
Yes. So it looks like she arrived at 9:30 in the morning.
And then when a patient is admitted, is it soon after that you have your first interaction with the patient?
Yeah, as soon as the bed is available and they get put in a room, yes, then I have an interaction with the patient, but that depends on the waiting room time.
Okay. And do you remember how long she was at the hospital for? Was it hours, days?
I do not.
Okay. And do you remember how long it took for the X-rays to be done?
I don't remember how long it specifically took for her, but I can say that generally, once a patient gets an X-ray, it takes about 30 to 60 minutes for a radiologist to read it.
So is it fair to say she was released that day?
I would believe so.
Okay. No further questions.
Any questions for this witness from anyone in the jury? Seeing none, thank you very much. You may step down and you're free to go. May this witness be released from her subpoena.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Let's grab the exhibit. Next witness.
People call Detective Francisco Lasaba.
All right, if you raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury the testimony you're about to give this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Mr. DeCecco, if you'd grab the paper that was used to refresh for the last witness. Once you're settled in, would you please tell me your first and last name and spell those? And make sure, yeah, there you go.
Francisco Olazaba, Francisco. Last name is Olaza, B as in boy, A.
Your witness.
Good afternoon, Detective Olasaba. Where are you currently employed?
The Denver Police Department.
And how long have you been with the Denver Police Department?
Since 2016.
Did you have any prior law enforcement experience before joining the Denver Police Department?
Yes, I was a police officer with Los Angeles Police Department in 2012.
So how many years were you with the Los Angeles Police Department?
Approximately 4 years.
Is it fair to say you transferred here to Denver?
Yes, I lateraled over here.
What sort of training did you have to do to become a police officer?
We go through an academy, and after the academy, through field training.
And after you did you go through the academy in Denver?
Oh, yes, I went to the academy. It's a 9-month program going to the Los Angeles Police Department's academy, and another year of field training officer training where you're assigned to a field training officer. And then with the Denver Police Department, I went through an accelerated program since I had prior law enforcement experience. It was about a 3-month academy with a 6-month field training, both requiring me to successfully pass the post.
And what does POST stand for?
The police officers standards training.
So after you went through the Denver Academy, what was your assignment with Denver Police?
I was assigned to patrol District 5, which is going to be the east side of Denver. I spent about a year out there. Then I transferred over to the District 4, which is going to be the west side of Denver. Once I was on patrol for about 2 or 3 years, I was assigned to the uniform narcotics section, where I was a uniform support for the narcotics detectives and primarily focused on the narcotics investigations. After that, I was promoted in November of 2024 to the Major Crimes Division, section domestic violence, as a detective.
So what was your assignment in October of 2024?
My assignment at that time was working as a detective for the Denver Police Department Major Crimes section.
So I just want to clarify, you said you were promoted in November 2024. Were you working the detective before you got that promotion, or when did you start in the domestic violence?
I was working as the detective capacity. So I was pulled over and I was working with detectives under the supervision of detectives, investigating cases.
Is that like detective training in a way?
Yes, it's the
Okay.
detective training. And then within that month or the following month, I was made to detective.
How long is the detective training or capacity when you're working under other detectives?
There is a 6-month program that officers take to do detective training. I participated in that 6-month program. While I was a police officer, I still worked under and filed cases as an officer with the narcotics section. They had me move over to domestic violence for, I think I was there for like 2 months as an officer, just trying to see if I fit in and to see if I could do the job before they promoted me.
So is it fair to say you've been a detective less than a year now?
I'm sorry?
Is it fair to say you've been a detective less than a year now?
Yeah.
And are you still with the domestic violence unit?
I am.
Where is the domestic violence unit, the Denver Police, housed?
It's going to be the Rosandum Center.
Could you just briefly explain what the Rosandum Center is?
The Rosandum.
Objection relevance.
May I respond?
Sorry, I didn't hear an objection.
Objection relevance.
It's where Ms. Crowell reported to report the crime. Generally, what is the Rosandum Center?
The Rosandum Center is a location where domestic violence, sex assaults, and also it's like victim services are all housed to do like a one-stop shop. So someone of a victim of domestic violence or sex assault could come in and create a report and speak to detectives. And while they're there, they could also get assistance from victims advocates.
Were you assigned a case involving the victim Constance Crowell on October 8th, 2024?
Yes, sir.
And were you still kind of an officer in detective training at that point?
Yes.
I want to just back up. When you're doing an investigation of domestic violence, what is the first thing you review as part of your investigation?
The first thing that I review, I get the case assigned to me from my detective sergeant, and then from there I review, see what is missing or what is there. Generally, officer statements, body-worn camera, photos, anything uploaded to evidence.com. I get the CAD, and I get the 911 calls.
And I'm sorry if you said, do you review the officers' reports that initially respond?
I do.
And then after you review anything, what are usually your next steps?
After I review all the statements made and I review the body-worn camera, I typically call the victim, or I call any witnesses that stand out.
And why do you speak to the victim yourself?
Just to see if they verify the facts and to see if they remember something that they may not have reported. Sometimes people in the heat of the moment report stuff, and after they slept on it, studies have showed that they sleep on it and they wake up the next morning, they remember more things. So I just verify that they got all the facts.
Okay. When you were assigned the case involving Constance Crowell on October 8th, 2024, how was this case assigned to you? And was it, or I guess, did this come across you differently than other cases come?
This one was brought to me as a walk-in. And while you're on training, you essentially get all the call outs and all the walk-ins. Call outs being if they need a detective to respond on scene for anything that's in progress, and also walk-ins when a victim of domestic violence walks into the Rosandum Center, they're greeted by the reception staff and then a victim's advocate. And then at that point, they meet with a detective if the domestic violence they're there for has not been reported yet.
On October 8th, did Ms. Crowell request to speak to a detective concerning an incident from the day before?
Yes.
And before you spoke with her, did you have a chance to review any of the prior reports?
No.
Okay. So when you're meeting with her for the first time, are you just getting everything firsthand?
Yes.
Okay. What was, can you describe what the meeting looked like? Where did you actually sit down and meet with Ms. Crowell?
The Rosandum Center has like a soft interview room, which is like you'd imagine like a living room or like a doctor's waiting room, like it has like a love seat, couple chairs, and it has some of them have recording devices like cameras that we have in here that are tucked into the ceilings. In this case, I don't think there was one available, so I used my body-worn camera.
And was another detective in the interview room with you and her?
Yes.
Okay. Is that common as part of your training to have another detective with you?
Yes.
What was her demeanor like when you first interacted with her?
She was sad. She was very she was quiet and she seemed frustrated.
Was she, you obviously heard testimony from the doctors regarding her foot situation. Did she walk in? Was she on a scooter? Did she have a boot on? What was the situation with her foot?
I think she had a boot.
What did you learn had happened the day before regarding any calls for service made on the early morning of October 7th?
Objection, calls for hearsay.
Response.
I'm just asking for what reports, what actions were made by officers, not
If you
their
don't solicit
statements.
hearsay.
So that, without saying what anyone said, was there calls for service regarding an incident the early morning of October 7th?
Yes, there was a call.
Were you able to look up kind of any calls that were made to 911 from the West 14th Avenue address?
Yes.
In total, how many calls were made?
Approximately 3 or 4.
Okay. What time was the initial call for service that morning?
Approximately 3 or 4 in the morning was the first one.
And did officers respond to Ms. Crowell's address at that time?
They did.
Okay. Was any sort of arrest made at that time?
There was not.
Okay. And then later on that morning, were additional calls to 911 made?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How did Denver police respond when they, got the second calls in to the 911 center?
They responded and met with Mr. Byers and Ms. Carnwell.
And I guess let me back up. The prior time when they respond earlier in the morning, did officers meet with both parties?
They did.
And when we're talking about the male party, what is the name of the male party we're speaking about?
Kiefer Byers. Kiefer Byers.
And do you recall Mr. Byers' age?
I don't.
Would it refresh your memory to review a copy of your report?
Yes. He was born in 89.
Okay. And about how old was Ms. Crowell?
She was born in.
Would it refresh your memory to review that report?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No worries.
95.
Okay. When officers responded the second time, about what time of the morning was that?
I think it was approximately after 5 a.m.
Okay. Did the officers make any arrests at that point?
They did not.
Okay. Did you learn after these two calls for service were made, did Ms. Crowell go to the emergency department later that day?
I did.
Okay. And we heard testimony from Dr. Trent. Were you aware of any police report being made from Denver Health at that point?
I was not made aware.
Okay. Did you learn anything regarding restraining order being taken out against Mr. Byer?
I did.
Or against Ms. Crowell?
Yes, I was against Ms. Crowell.
Who got that restraining order?
So Kiefer got a restraining order against Contents.
Okay. And at that, when you first, was that restraining order in place when you first met with Ms. Crowell?
Crowell, yes, I was. It was in effect. She was served. She had the copy
Okay.
with her.
Did you actually review that yourself?
I did.
Okay. As part of your investigation, what, without saying what was said, kind of what was your purpose of, let me rephrase, based on the information she provided on the October 8th, kind of what was your next step?
I arranged. Well, I got a HIPAA form signed, which a HIPAA form
Idaho.
allows me to see her medical records. So I submitted a request for any of her medical records. I also arranged for there to be forensic interviews to be conducted with the witnesses since they're juveniles. And after that, I compiled all the interviews and everything, and I presented to the district attorney's office for final decision.
And just generally, what is a forensic interview?
A forensic interview, it's when a specialist a specialist in interviewing minors that comes in and conducts an interview based on a series of events that they potentially could have witnessed or heard.
And who are the children that were forensically interviewed after this report was made?
It was going to be like Lilith. Sorry, I can't say her name. And Mary Jane.
And do you know the relationship of those two girls to the adult parties?
Yes, Mary Jane is the daughter of Kiefer, and Lilith is the daughter of Constance.
Okay. And did you actually review those videos, the recordings of those interviews?
I did.
Okay. And did you, in fact, after you reviewed those videos, you said you presented the case to the district attorney's office?
Yes.
And after that, did you get an arrest warrant for Mr. Byer?
I'm sorry?
After that, did you get an arrest warrant for Mr. Byer?
Yes.
Okay. And
No, after, I'm sorry, after, I believe after I conducted an interview with the victim, and then she showed me some of like her discharge paperwork, then I did an arrest warrant.
Okay.
I think, and then after that, I continued the rest of the interviews.
And at some point, did Mr. Byer turn himself in on that warrant?
He did.
Okay. Did you speak with him briefly?
I did.
Okay. Did he point out to you any marks on his arm?
He did.
Okay. And did you discuss with him anything about videos he may have from that incident?
He mentioned he had videos, but he didn't have them on him at the time of the arrest.
Okay. Did he say where those videos, what device those videos were on?
They said they were on his phone, and he didn't have his phone at the time of the arrest.
Okay. Following your conversation with Mr. Byer, what was your next step as part of the investigation?
Arranging the forensic interviews.
And then ultimately, after all the interviews are conducted, is that when you present the case to the district attorney?
Yes.
Okay. And were you informed charges were filed?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions at this time.
Cross-examination?
Your Honor, may we approach?
All right, Detective, I'm going to go ahead and have you step down. We're going to take our evening break. Sounds like the cross-examination is more than 15 minutes. So you guys get a couple minutes out of me tonight. You do not have all the facts. You do not have the law. Do not talk about this case amongst yourselves and resist any temptation to talk about how exciting voir dire was with everyone at home over dinner. I don't think there's going to be any press or anything, but if you're scrolling, watching, whatever, and there's anything, ignore it, go past it. You know, for tonight, just decompress, have a nice glass of wine or iced tea, whatever. Enjoy this nice summer evening, relax. We'll start up in the morning at 8:30. Now, I'm going to release you through the jury deliberation room. We will have a pot of coffee. State buys Folgers, but I don't let my jurors drink Folgers. Trying to remember what it is. I think my daughter in Fort Collins brought something called the Human Bean. So I think it's something from the Human Bean that is in there, but we can make a pot. You guys can make a pot of coffee. I've got sugar and non-dairy creamer. If you want half and half or something else, bring that in yourself. When you leave tonight, I'm going to have you go out the back way through room 475. So Caitlin will show you how to go out. And the reason I'm having you go out that way is that's how I'm going to have you come in the morning. So at about, by 8:25, in time for us to have an 8:30 start, if you'd line up outside in the hallway, the door has a time lock that doesn't unlock until 8:30, but by 8:15, 8:20, Andrew or Caitlin will start checking the hallway and start bringing y'all back. That way we can be in here working and we don't have to stop every time someone walks through. So we're going to have you come in through room 475. It's literally just right next door to the courtrooms, to the doors to 4G. I think that's about it. If anybody's driving, I am working on free parking for jurors, but for now we don't have that. But there is a code to get you a couple bucks off of the garage. It's better than a stick in the eye. Other than that, relax, don't think about this, and we'll see everyone in the morning. All rise. Jury's in recess until 8:30 tomorrow morning. All right, everyone can be seated. I'll take a couple minutes here, and does the defense think they're going to have a theory of the case instruction?
We're not sure, but I think I know where you're going with this. We can submit it ex parte by tomorrow.
I'd like it ASAP
Morning? Yeah.
because I've got an obligation to work with you on it and make sure that it's non-argumentative and appropriate. So as soon as you can,
Okay.
I would appreciate having it. Do you plan on submitting any of your own jury instructions?
Yes, Your Honor. I can have those submitted to the court. I have them.
I'd appreciate that. If you could just email them to the 4G ex parte is fine. That way I can look at them. I just like to be able to know what to listen for. I mean, I don't know. I heard, for example, in opening, that the daughter was threatened, but then so I don't know if you're going defense of others or not. It just changes how I listen. So I'd appreciate seeing what you've got. Have you had a chance to look over the prosecutions?
Yes.
They all seem pretty stock. I did note that the verdict forms have the interrogatory, but the instructions themselves did not have the interrogatory instruction. If you find the defendant not guilty, ignore this. However, if you find him guilty, that was not in the submitted instructions. Was that intentional? Always kind of.
No, that was an error if I didn't.
All right, I'll add that in. I've always kind of wondered if you really need it, because we define domestic violence in the definitions page. So I don't think it would be confusing for a jury to have the question that way, but I'll add in that instruction. I get the tendered instruction. It's no defense to the charge of attempt if the crime was actually completed. I think I can understand where that one's going. Obviously, if there's any objections to things, you can make them later. But you had two other jury instructions. There's a unanimity instruction as to assault in the third degree. Is there really going to be an issue? Or isn't everything about the foot?
No, there's also the head hitting the ground, causing the bruise and fuzziness.
And which is that what you're alleging is the third degree assault? That the attempted second is the foot and the third is the head?
I think the jury could find either constitute a third degree assault. I didn't add separate charges, so that's why I included the unanimity.
All right, so all right, we're gonna probably have to piece through that one. That's a little odd.
Your Honor, I do think that's confusing to the jury. And assault in the third degree is not a lesser of attempted assault because it does not require, attempted assault does not require the proof of injury.
Well, it's not being offered as a lesser. It's being offered as a separate substantive charge. But, well, and I guess yeah, I mean, that's what I'm worried about as well. What happens if they come back with attempted second? I guess I don't understand what you just said. They both require injury.
So attempted assault in the second degree does not require proof of an injury, just a substantial step. Assault in the third degree does require bodily injury.
I'll have to look into that. All right, we can flesh this out. My trial schedule basically contemplates about 6 hours of testimony per day. If the proposed times are accurate, we've got 6 hours tomorrow, so we'll be closing. Looks like hopefully we'll be able to finish tomorrow, and then do instructions and closing first thing Thursday morning. So let's be prepared to discuss how we're going to be using this third degree assault. All right, and why is the factual or legal impossibility in here?
Just a moment. Let me pull it up.
Is that to head off the argument that the condition of the foot, that he didn't have to know the condition of the foot or something along those lines?
Yes. It's, you know, because if he didn't know that the foot had not fully healed, right, and that it was impossible to break the bones because they were not fully healed, which he didn't know, that would not be a defense. So that's why it's included.
Okay. I don't think I had any other questions on the proposed instruction by the prosecution. Obviously, we'll get a full record from the defense as to everything tomorrow. Let's plan on staying late tomorrow.
And just in terms of scheduling as well, Mary Jane Byer has her first real day of school tomorrow. We told her that it's unlikely that she will need to come in and testify during the day. If we do end a little bit early without a witness, we could just go right into the jury instructions. We wanted to make sure and not pull her out of school if we didn't need to.
I don't want this going into Friday.
It would just be Thursday morning that we would
Yeah, you say that
start
now
with
and
her.
then. I want her ready. I want her ready to testify when she has to testify.
Okay.
I don't want to lose a couple hours at the end of the day. We're talking 30 minutes. Well, I mean, if we're talking the end of the day, she probably gets out of school at 2:30 or 3. She can be here by, what grade is she in?
It's her first day of high school. It's her first day of real school. She's been homeschooled for her entire life, basically, since 5th grade. So she's
Which high
really
school?
excited about it. Bear Creek.
So what time do they get out?
We're thinking 3:30,
3. Let's see.
3:20.
All right, so you can be here by 4. Okay. Well, we'll see how that works. And who's Keisha Patterson's your investigator?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see how things are going. Like I said, if it's 6 hours and we may, this whole conversation may be moot anyhow.
And you make a good point. We might be able to call Miss Patterson or somebody before Miss Spire as well.
Okay. All right. Well, everyone have a good night. We'll see you in the morning.
Thank you too.
Off the FTR. And right now, the entire chair, the entire microphone, and everything is going to move. And I'm going to ask you keep it. Yeah, you can slide it, bend it, move it. I just want to make sure that you are talking right into it, okay? Because it sounds like you've got a little bit of a soft voice, so I need you to be like right up on top of the mic. If you can hear your voice through the system, you're doing great. Would you tell me your name, please?
My name is Lilith
And your last name?
Crowell.
And can you spell your first name for me?
Huh?
Can you spell your first name for me?
Lilith.
And how about your last name?
I don't know how to.
How to spell your last name? That's all right. Your witness, counsel.
Good morning. Do you go by Lilith or Lily or something different?
Lily.
And how do you spell Lily?
Lilie.
And Lily, how old are you?
9.
You're 9 years old. What grade are you in?
5th.
5th grade. Did you just start school?
About a week ago, yes.
How do you like it so far?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Lily, do you have any brothers and sisters?
I got 2 brothers,
And how old are your brothers?
4 and 6.
Do you live with your mom?
Till Friday, yeah.
Okay. So this week, are you staying with your mom?
Yes.
And what is your mom's name?
Huh?
What is your mom's name?
Stans Crowell.
Um, and how do you feel about talking in court today?
Pretty scared.
Are you nervous?
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. Did you ever have a stepdad who you referred to as Kiko?
Yeah.
Do you see him anywhere in the courtroom today?
No.
Okay. Can you look around? Do you see him anywhere?
No.
Okay. That's okay. I want to talk about something that happened in your home last year with Kiko and your mom. Do you ever remember a time when Kiko was living in your home with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Was there anyone else living with you besides Kiko and your siblings and your mom?
No.
Okay. Was there a stepsister?
Yeah.
Okay. What was her name?
MJ.
MJ. Do you remember a night when something happened in the apartment last year?
Yes.
Was that last October, roughly?
I think.
Okay. On that night, were you asleep in your bed?
Half asleep.
Half asleep. What do you mean by half asleep?
Like I was still like trying to go to sleep.
Okay. Are you a heavy or a light sleeper?
Light.
Did you wake up to some loud noise that night?
Yes.
When you woke up to a noise, what kind of noise did you hear?
bang.
You heard a bang?
Yeah,
How loud was that bang?
pretty loud.
What happened with your eyes when you heard that bang?
Yeah, I opened them.
You opened them, and the witness raised her hands as she said, I opened them.
Yeah.
Where were your brothers when you were sleeping or half sleeping?
They were heavy sleeping
Okay. Did they have their own room or were they in a room with you?
in a room with me.
Okay. Besides the loud bang, did you hear anything else in your bed?
No.
Did you hear anyone saying anything?
No, not really.
Okay. When you heard the loud bang, did you hear your mom?
Yes.
Did your mom make any noises?
Yes.
What did she say?
Ow.
Your mom said, ow.
Yeah.
Okay. How loud was that?
More like a scream to me.
Like a scream?
Yeah.
After you heard the bang and the scream, what did you do?
I opened up the door, which was not a great idea.
Okay. So you said you opened up the door. Did you get out of your bed first?
Yeah.
And then you opened up the door. What did you see when you opened up the door?
My mom laying on the floor, like right next to their room.
You said right next to her room?
Yes.
Okay. How far away was she from you?
Like right down the hall.
Okay. How big is that hall? Is it pretty big or small or something
It's
else?
pretty small.
When you saw your mom on the ground, did she say anything else?
No.
Do you remember her saying anything about her foot?
Yes.
What did you hear her say about her foot?
My foot is, I think it's broken.
You said, I think it's broken.
Yeah.
Okay. Did she say who may have caused that or did that?
Huh?
When she said her foot was broken, who did she say who caused that?
No.
Okay. Did you see anyone else when you came out of the room?
Yes.
Who else did you see?
I seen Kiko and MJ
And where was Kiko when you came out of your room?
at their dorm room.
Okay. Were the lights on or off when you came out?
On.
And what was Kiko doing when you came out?
Staring down.
And was he in the hallway or in your mom's room or somewhere else?
Hallway.
Okay. What was he doing other than staring down?
Like literally nothing.
Did you see MJ when you first came out?
Nah, she just came out.
Okay. So did you come out first or did MJ come out first?
She was already out there.
Okay. Where was she?
Like right next to the couch where the hallway was.
Okay. Was she doing anything?
Nope.
Okay. After you saw your mom yelling on the ground, what happened next?
Kiko shut the door on me and they started arguing.
You said Kiko shut the door. What door did he shut?
My door.
He shut your door?
Yep.
So when he shut the door, were you inside your room or out in the hallway?
Inside my room.
Okay. So he shut your door and then you heard arguing?
Yep.
And so, silly question, but after he shut the door, could you see anything after that? Could you see the arguing or just hear it?
I could only hear it.
When he shut the door, was MJ still in the hallway?
Yeah.
And where were your brothers still at this time?
Passed out.
Okay. When you say passed out, were they still sleeping in their beds?
Yep.
Okay. Did you come out of your room again after Kiko shut the door?
Nope.
Okay. When, what happened after you heard the arguing?
Like yelling, screaming, talking about mom's foot or something.
Okay. Were voices raised?
Yes.
Okay. Whose voices were raised?
Both of them.
Okay. When was the last time you came out of your room? The next time?
Like the morning.
Okay. Did you see Kiko and MJ go anywhere?
No.
Okay. Do you remember, did police come over to your apartment?
Yes.
Okay. And did you come out of your room when they were over there?
Yes.
When the police were in there, were Kiko and MJ in the apartment, or were they gone?
Gone.
Did you see them on the balcony that morning?
Sort of, but no.
What do you mean by sort of, but no?
Like part of the story was they were on there, but in the morning they weren't.
Okay. Did you know that they were there at some point?
Yeah.
Okay. And did your mom do anything with the door when they were on the balcony?
They locked it for a second.
Did your mom lock the door?
Yep.
Okay. After she locked it, did she let them back in?
Yes.
Did you know about your mom having a broken foot before?
Yes.
Did she tell you kind of she broke her foot before?
Yep.
And was that when she was pregnant with you?
I think, yeah.
Okay. Did you hear your mom telling Kiko to do anything?
Like she told him to leave.
Okay. Did she tell him to get out?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what Kiko did after your mom told him to get out?
She kept saying, like, get out because he wouldn't listen.
Okay. And did he leave right away?
No.
I asked you about the police coming over. After the police came over, did you see Kiko and MJ again that morning?
No.
Okay. Did they come back in the apartment after the first time police came?
Yeah, to get their stuff and all.
Okay. Was there any more arguing after the police left?
No.
Okay. Do you remember police coming back a second time?
No.
Okay. You just remember one time that they came. Did you see anything on your mom's forehead? What do you remember seeing on her forehead?
Bruise.
A bruise? Do you remember what color it was?
Nope.
Was it easy to see or hard to see?
Hard.
Could you see it? When were you able to see it clearly?
The next day.
Okay, the next day. So were you able to see it clearly the first time you came out of the room?
No.
Okay. Was it easier to see the next day in the daylight?
Yeah.
Okay. Just one moment. Thank you. I don't have any more questions for you right now.
Hmm.
All right, the other attorney is going to have some questions for you now. Mr. Black.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, Lily. Do you remember giving an interview with the forensic interviewer
I can't
where
pop
she
it on
kind of videotaped an
screen.
interview and went over this night with you?
Yes.
Hold on,
And
I gotta
it
figure
was
this
kind of
out.
a long time ago, so it's okay if
There we go. I figured out how to mute, guys. I mean, how to pause. Oh, everybody's gonna be really happy now. Martha, thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate it. I really do. And Monica, are you here? Monica's here. Monica's been here the whole time. Monica, thank you so much for the PayPal. Thank you so much. I tried to get you yesterday during OJ, but I didn't get you. I really appreciate it. And Jude, the songs were amazing. Jude put some songs on Discord, guys. You should go and listen to them. I liked the 2.3.5 the best. But number one was second best. Thank you so much, guys. All right, now I hit play.
your memory's a little fuzzy. But do you remember what you told her about this night?
Yeah.
Do you remember telling her that when you came out of the bedroom that the light was actually off?
I don't know, actually.
You don't know? Would it help you refresh your recollection if you could listen to that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm approaching the witness.
Of course, my mic isn't working. Why? Why is my mic not working? I sound weird? For real?
So after listening to that, do you remember a little bit better about what you were telling that interviewer?
Yeah.
Was the light on when you came out of the bedroom?
Yeah.
Okay. And Mr. Byer was still in the room, or he was at the door?
Not sure.
You're not sure. When the police came, your mom asked you to come into the living room.
Yeah,
She told you that you were her only witness.
I think.
She said you were her witness because you're older than the boys.
Okay, yeah, I remember.
But you didn't see what happened before you opened the door.
I didn't.
You could only hear what you told us you heard.
Yes.
Okay. No further questions.
All right, redirect.
So Lily, you asked about whether the lights were on and off, and you reviewed part of that video that when you spoke to the lady, remember? And do you remember telling her that, and you told the forensic interviewer that you saw Kiko go running out, but like the lights were off? Do you remember that?
For a second, I thought the lights were on, though.
Okay, but when you were speaking to the forensic interviewer, you said the lights were off and then he turned the lights on? Is that what you told her?
Oh, okay, yeah, that was.
Okay. What do you remember today? Do you remember the lights being off at first or on at first?
On.
Okay. But do you remember seeing him run into the bedroom?
I don't know.
Is this better? Did this change? Am I too loud? I'm talking low because I'm scared I might be loud. But this is if you just got here, I'm trying new software and I'm trying to figure it all out. So, is this better? And is it blasting loud or is it too soft? Well, I can't turn it up anymore, so it's either too loud or I'm just waiting for chat to catch up. Nothing? No one's going to answer? Does it still sound like I'm in a cave? Or does it sound any different? Okay, thank you. All right, back to the little girl. Soft, slightly better, quiet. Okay, I'll try to fix it.
Okay. Where do you remember him running to?
I don't know.
Just so we clarify, where did you see him go after you opened the door?
Back out.
Okay, out into the hallway.
Yes.
And then afterwards, he shut your door.
Yes.
Okay, no further questions.
All right, any questions for this witness from anyone in the jury? Being none, thank you very much. I appreciate your testimony today. You may step down, be careful. All right, ma'am, just come this way. And then you're going to head towards this chair. And before you sit down, would you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury the testimony you're about to give this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you very much. Have a seat. Now the chair will move. The microphone will, you can move the microphone as you need to. I just need to make sure that you've got it, that you're speaking right into it. If you're close enough to it that you can actually hear your voice through the system, you're doing great. Should be some water down there by your left knee if you want some of that. Would you tell me your first and last name, please?
It's Constance Crowell.
And would you spell those?
ConstanceCrowell.
Thank you very much. Your witness.
Good morning, Miss Crowell. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Crowell. Thank you. Where do you live in the Denver area?
Not anymore.
Okay. Last October of 2024, were you living in Denver?
Yes, sir.
What address were you living at?
3180 West 14th Avenue.
Ms. Crowell, what do you do for a living?
Right now I'm doing content creation, but I used to be a preschool teacher.
Okay. Do you have any children?
Yes, I have 3.
What is your oldest child's name?
Lily,
And how old is Lily?
she's 9.
What about your other children? What are their names?
I have Finley and Izzy,
How old are they?
6 and 3, or 4. Oh my gosh.
How are you feeling right now?
Scared, honestly.
Okay. Are you familiar with a man named Kiefer Byer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does he have a nickname that you know him by?
Yes, it's Kiko.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get this set up. Once I get it set up, I won't have to touch it again. Is that better? Am I screaming? Am I too loud now? Am I any louder? Does it sound better? I'm just going to press play while you guys answer because I know the delay is a bit much.
How do you spell that?
Kiko.
I'll refer to him as Mr. Byer. Does Mr. Byer have any children?
Yes, he does.
Who of his children do you know or are familiar with?
MJ.
MJ. Do you know her full name? What MJ stands for?
Mary Jane.
Okay. Do you know how old she is?
They're 14 now.
Okay. How did you meet Mr. Byer?
So I met him online. We started talking through Facebook.
Do you remember about when you met him?
Yeah, it was actually, no, I'm drawing a blank right now. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Just generally, was it 2 years ago, last year,
It
this
was
year?
almost 2 years ago, I think now.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess it's been a year. It's like a year and a half, if not more, 2 years.
Okay. Was it sometime in 2024?
Yes.
Okay. And did you develop a relationship with Mr. Byer?
Yes.
And what was your relationship?
We were dating.
Okay. I'm sorry to ask this, but was your relationship intimate as well?
Yes.
Okay. How long were you dating Mr. Byer?
Like 6 months. I think the last few months were on and off.
Okay. Was there ever a time when Mr. Byer lived with you?
He stayed with me a lot. I was letting him stay with me while he was looking for a place to live.
And when he would stay with you, did his daughter stay with you as well?
Yeah. He worked nights, so I watched her.
About how many months did he and MJ stay over with you?
I'm not totally sure.
Okay. Was it less than a year?
It was less than a year
Okay.
for sure.
Was his name on the lease for your apartment?
No, because
Okay.
it was mine.
At some point in 2024, did you break up with Mr. Byer?
Yeah, we had multiple breakups.
Okay. When you broke up with him, did you give him a certain amount of time to get out of the apartment?
Yes, I did.
About how much time did you?
Oh, over the course of 2 months.
Okay.
And then I gave a very definitive, like, I'm done. It's like 2 weeks before the incident.
Why didn't you just have him leave immediately?
Because he wouldn't.
Okay. During that time, let me kind of get closer. On October 7th, 2024, during that time, was he still working at night?
Yes.
And when he was working at night, where would MJ stay?
MJ stayed with me.
Okay. And did you allow her to stay with you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Was he staying at your apartment kind of that week?
Yeah.
Okay.
We stayed over a lot. Dating.
Was there anything going on with MJ that gave you concern?
A lot of things.
Okay. What was one of the things that concerned you?
She started cutting herself.
I'm gonna object at this point.
Counsel?
Is the objection relevant?
Yes.
It goes to what started the argument that led up to the incident.
All right, I'll allow you some latitude overruled.
Did you have some other concerns with MJ?
She kept trying to leave the house.
Okay.
I would renew my prior objection. It does not relate to
Overruled.
that concern.
Did you raise these concerns with Mr. Byer?
Multiple times.
And how did he react?
He would get really angry with me
Okay.
and tell me,
Objection 404B.
Overruled.
Did this subject come up on the early morning of October 7th?
absolutely.
Okay. On that early morning, where were you in the apartment?
I was sleeping in my bed.
Okay. Was anyone else in the bedroom with you when you went to sleep?
No,
Okay. Did you wake up at any point that morning?
I woke up when Kiko woke me up.
Okay. Do you remember about what time he woke you up?
I don't remember a specific time, but I know it was anywhere from like 2 to 4 in the morning.
Okay.
The sun wasn't up yet, and it was definitely past midnight.
Did he have his own key to the apartment?
He stole my keys.
Okay. Is that how he got in the apartment? Was using your keys?
Yeah, I gave him a key at one point because I trusted him. And then I took that key back secretively. And then that's when he stole my physical keys.
Objection 404B.
Overruled.
When he woke you up in the apartment, was the light on? Was it dark, or did he turn the light on?
The light was off.
Okay.
I believe it was actually how loud he was being that woke me.
Okay.
And then that's when he addressed me.
What was his demeanor like when you first interacted with him?
He was drunk and annoyed with me.
Okay. Did he say he had anything to drink?
Yes.
Okay.
I could smell it too.
Okay. So after you wake up to noise, was there a conversation between you and Mr. Byer?
Yes.
And did he or you mention the things that was going on with MJ?
So I told him that I needed him to get out because of the argument that we were having. He said no. I said, at this point, like, I can't help you. I can't help MJ. You won't get her out.
Objection hearsay.
Overruled.
And it was that last part after I can't help MJ.
I'm sorry.
Let me rephrase the question. So did you continue to have an argument with him about your concerns with MJ?
Yes.
Okay. Was he asking to see any parts of your body at that time?
Objection leading.
So
Sustained.
Let me rephrase. Was there any concerns he raised about you being with anyone else?
Objection leading.
what started?
Hold on a second.
Sorry.
I know this is weird, but when you hear someone, see someone stand up and say objection, you just pause for a second because they're talking to me, and then just wait for me. The objection's overruled. You can answer the question, or if you need him to repeat the question.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
Do you need me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Was anything raised about you potentially seeing anyone else?
Yeah.
Okay. What did he say to you?
The catalyst of the entire fight was he believed that I was cheating on him when I was home watching the children. He had me strip my
And I'm sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah.
and you can take a breath. Was he wanting to see any specific part of you?
Yes.
And what part of that?
He wanted to make sure I didn't have cum in my vagina.
Okay. How did you react when he wanted to see that part of you?
I said no, and then he got scary.
When you said he got scary, was he doing anything with his phone?
I mean,
I did say at the very beginning of the stream that there was some uh, content that was a little. Anyway, I forgot to remind you because I was trying so hard to set up this new software. I forgot to remind you it was coming. But yeah, there you go. There you have it. Sorry about that. Jude, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the gifted membership. They love that. Thank you.
yeah, he was putting his phone in my face.
How did you feel having his phone in your face?
Not great.
Yay, Warren. Thank you. Thank you.
Was there a conversation about you asking for a cigarette?
Yes.
Okay.
So after he hurt me and made me strip, I wanted him to get out. I was like, you just need to leave. Like, you need to go. MJ can stay. He was pretending to be asleep at that point in bed. And so he had hidden my keys, my cigarettes, everything. And I was like, I need a cigarette, like, because he wouldn't leave. And I said, like, I just need an effing cigarette. And then he like shoved his phone in my face, and I pushed it out of my face and went to walk away from him. And that's when everything happened.
Okay. So I just want to back up. So you asked for a cigarette. Did he give you one?
No,
Okay.
he ignored me
Um,
and recorded me while he was sleeping.
so was he sitting on the bed, laying on the bed, something else?
Laying down.
Okay. Where were
facing-
you when he
I
started recording?
was on the side of the bed where we keep the cigarettes and charge phones.
And can you describe the motion you made when you pushed the phone out? Okay. And so was he holding the time when
Yeah.
you pushed it out? And just for the record,
He sat up and put the phone in my face and said, I've been recording the whole time.
and just for the record, the witness pushed with her right hand kind of across her body.
Yeah.
What did you do after you pushed the phone out of your face?
Well, I felt uncomfortable. So I went to leave immediately. I turned around to go.
And when you say you went to leave, where did you try to go?
I was gonna, honestly, I don't really know where I was gonna go.
Okay.
I was just trying to get away from him.
Were you trying to leave the bedroom?
Yeah.
What did he do after you pushed the phone away?
Well, I turned around to walk away and he grabbed my arm and kind of flipped me back towards him. There was tugging and pulling. And then
Sorry to interrupt you. When you say there was a tugging and pulling, was he tugging you or were you tugging him?
he was trying to pull me back into the bedroom and I didn't want to go.
Did you pull away when he was grabbing you?
Absolutely.
What did he do next after pulling your arm?
So I yanked really hard and I tried to turn around to leave. That's when he body slammed me.
When you say he body slammed you, can you describe what he was doing with his body?
So he used his body to tackle me against the door and then the wall. And then we both fell onto the floor.
Do you remember what part of his body touched your body?
All of it.
Okay. When you say all of it, did all of his weight, did he?
Warren, thank you so much. That's so kind. Thank you. Thank you. They're going to thank you. They're going to send like comments in the video to thank you. So just look for them. They might even pop in here and say thank you.
And I breathe.
Okay. So he put his body weight against your body?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just tackled me.
When you said you hit the door, what part of you hit the door? Was it the back of your head, side, front?
It was on my forehead.
And the witness pointed to the right side of her forehead. Did any part of you hit the wall?
Yeah, my
What part?
shoulder, my head. All of me hit the wall. Well, the door. I hit the door first and then the wall.
And I just want to clarify, when you say door, are you talking about your bedroom door?
Linen closet door. We were in my door frame to my bedroom.
Okay. How far away from the linen closet door is your bedroom door?
Maybe 2 feet.
Okay. Is it fair to say it's a really small hallway?
It is.
When he put his weight against you, I believe you said you fell to the ground. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. What part of you hit the ground?
My head.
Did your body land on the floor?
Did. It was a really hard fall.
When he made this movement, did he hit anything on the wall?
I believe he hit my picture frame and it fell on him.
Okay.
It's a big metal picture. Well, not big, but it's a metal picture frame.
Did you see it cause any injuries to him?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it scratched his arm.
And did you see any scratches on his arm?
At the time, no.
Okay. Did you ever scratch his arm that night?
Absolutely not. I was just trying to get away from him, you know? Not fight back, just get away.
What did you feel in your head when it hit the doorway?
Mm. Honestly, I felt very outer body. I was so focused on trying to breathe because I got that wind knocked out of me that my head hurt really bad, but I was more focused on like, can I start breathing?
Okay.
Because he's on top of me at this point still, and I'm trying to get up. And
So when was the first time you felt pain in your head?
when he pushed my head against the ground.
Okay. So I just want to kind of get this in chronological order. So when you said he tackled you with his body weight, is it then you fall on the ground?
Yeah.
As part of that?
Well, I hit the door, I hit the wall, we hit the ground.
Okay. What was the next thing he did after you hit the ground?
Well, I tried to get away. I tried to get up. And he literally slammed my head into the ground. And at that point, it really does get quite fuzzy. I think I rolled on the ground for a little bit, trying to like get away from him and get him off of me. He kept using my head to try and get off of me and just kept pushing my head into the ground and slamming my head into the ground. And then he finally just like used my head and like was crawling off of me backwards. And that's
And when you said used head, kind of was he using?
to like, instead of using the floor to like get up, he used my head.
I don't think there's a video. Where?
When he slammed your head into the ground, what part of your head hit the floor?
My forehead, the side, the whole side.
What side was it?
My right side.
And physically, how did it feel when he slammed it?
Monica, he might be single. I say might.
Like it felt like I was still like falling.
Because they keep getting back together. So he might be available.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It hurt a lot. Ringing. I heard a lot of ringing.
He did record, Sherry, and I think we're gonna hear some of it. I think, or they're gonna play it. We may or may not hear it. But he started recording after, like he didn't record that part.
Just 1 moment, sorry.
Mhm.
When you fell to the ground, what what part of your body was on the ground? Was it your front side, your
No,
back?
front.
Okay. You landed kind of on your stomach?
Yeah, I mean, head first.
Okay. What was he doing with his body when you were on the ground?
So he like.
No,
I'm
he's very smart, Sherry. He only recorded the parts that made it look bad for her. He didn't record his parts.
not totally sure because I was still under attack. So like, are you saying after he like got off of me?
Before he got off on you, how was his body positioned?
Just on top of me like this.
Okay. Was it hard to breathe?
It was very hard to breathe.
She was arrested that night for domestic violence. It's playing. He's just thinking.
Did you try to get away at that point?
I
Ow.
tried to crawl away.
And when you say away, what room were you trying to go into, or?
I was trying to crawl to the living room.
After you're trying to crawl away, what happened next?
He grabbed my foot.
When you say he grabbed your foot, which foot did he grab?
My right one.
I want to.
I can't remember. I might be wrong. I don't know if she was arrested or she was just kicked out of the house. I know for a fact she had to leave the house. She had to leave.
Talk about that foot for a bit. Had that foot been injured previously?
Yeah, I had a car accident
When was that car accident?
a lot of years ago, 2018, but it's a Liz Frick injury. So it will get re-damaged again.
Okay.
But the hardware in there, it would take a lot to re-damage it. I was on a bone.
Objection calls for expert testimony.
Overruled.
Can you repeat that last bit?
I was on a bone stimulator
Okay.
so that my foot could fully heal. It was healed. I was out of my
Like Harry
boot.
Potter.
But then, I needed the bone stimulator because there was separation.
And did you have kind of multiple surgeries for this foot before this incident?
Only, yeah, a couple.
Okay. And were you wearing a boot at all for that foot in 2024?
Yeah, but I get put in my boot quite regularly. Even if there's not a break, it's a fragile surgery, so you have to be careful with it.
Okay. Did Mr. Byer know about your foot injuries?
Absolutely, he used to make fun of me about it.
Did he know about the bone stimulator you used?
He watched me use it.
Okay. Did you use it in the apartment?
I had to use it nightly.
Say it loud, say
was
it
your
proud.
foot feeling better around this time?
I had just gone on a hike.
Okay. So did you feel comfortable enough to hike with it?
It felt fantastic.
Okay. Did it hurt to hike with the foot?
Not really. The bone stimulator did wonders.
So when you're on the floor, you said he grabbed your foot.
Yeah.
What did he first do with your foot?
Well, he grabbed it and squeezed it as hard as he could. And then it was when he started to twist it.
What part of your right foot did he squeeze?
The middle of my foot.
Okay.
Like,
Okay, I don't know about you guys, but her saying how it pops when he was squeezing it has way more effect on me than the adult content earlier. This is what I should have given you a warning about. It sounds like my microphone is I mean, it looks like my microphone was going real red. Am I screaming? Am I screaming at you guys?
How did it feel physically when he was squeezing?
It hurt a lot. I felt my hardware break.
And then when he twisted it, how did that feel?
It hurt. That's when I felt the pops.
Okay. You said you felt the pops when he twisted it.
Yeah.
Were you able to hear them or did you just feel it?
I believe
Can't
that
tell
that's
if I
right.
could hear him or if I could just feel it in my body.
I had like, I believe she felt the pops. I do.
And on a scale of like 1 to 10, how was the pain in your foot when he did that?
It was insane. I don't even know what I did.
Okay. Stop. Speaking of pain, guys, have you ever seen those they're called TENS. It's called a TENS, TENS. I just told you how to spell 10. Anyway, it's the little machine where you stick it on your body and it gives you like a little electric shocks. It's supposed to be for, for your muscles and stuff, right? But they could stimulate period cramps, so they stick them on men to show men, what it might feel like. All right, and the men, they like, TENS unit. That's, and then they like fall to the ground, or they. So I was watching one yesterday where the men were trying to do dishes, where they put this TENS machine on them, right? And they couldn't. They could not do dishes. They kept falling to the ground when they put this TENS machine on them, right? But wait, then it gets better. If you watch these little videos, they're so funny. They are just hilarious. But if you watch them next, they like put the same TENS machine on women just to show that we're not making this up. This is how it feels. And the women are they just go about their day. They're like, okay, that's an 8. Yeah, okay, that's a 10. And they're talking normal, and they're doing dishes. They're doing that. And the guys are like, they're like, isn't that not really painful? They're like, oh no, I've had much worse period. It is so funny. You have to watch them because it is hilarious. You got to try it. You have to watch it. You know what? Not only do you have to watch it, you should all buy a TENS machine. See how you do.
I don't know what happened with my body after that.
Back to work.
I think I probably just laid there.
So could you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, like 10 being the worst pain, 0 being the least, 10 the most pain?
Easily, yeah.
Do you remember saying anything when this happened?
Objection calls for hearsay.
Hi, Karen. I didn't miss you. Hi.
I don't really remember. I think the next thing I remembered was seeing my daughter.
Okay.
And MJ.
Were you using your voice at all?
I think so. I was still trying to get my breath back. I might have just been screaming, and I might have even said like, ow, my foot, or get off of me. It could have been anything.
After he twisted your foot, what were you doing on the ground?
I was just laying there, I think rolling. I was in pain.
Okay. What was Mr. Byer doing after he did that twisting action?
I don't actually really remember. I believe he was probably in the room trying to pretend to be asleep.
When he said in the room, what room did he go into? Okay.
Yeah.
So how was his body positioned when he twisted your foot? Was he sitting, standing, lying?
He was kind of on his knees.
Okay.
Up? He had like one knee up.
Did you see him get up off his knees?
Not that I remember. I remember like looking back for a short moment, but that's when the popping happened, and it's kind of like you just don't have control of your body after you hurt like that.
You said you remember seeing MJ. When do you remember seeing her first after the twisting?
When I got up and I went into like this mode of everyone must leave my house now.
Okay. Did you see Lily at any point during this incident?
I did. I told her to get into the room and protect her brothers, lock the door.
Okay. When did you first see her?
When I started getting up off of the floor
Okay. Where was she standing?
in her doorway,
Okay. And where was MJ standing when you saw her?
in the doorway as well.
And what room was she sleeping in, MJ?
Same as Lily.
Okay. And were your sons sleeping in that room as well?
Yeah, it was the kids' room.
Okay. How many bedrooms are there?
2.
Okay. So when you got up, I think you said Mr. Byer was back in the bedroom on the bed.
Yeah.
And you said it looked like he was faking sleeping. Can you describe what that looked like?
That's exactly what he was doing in the earlier part of the night, just laying on his side and sleeping.
Was his eyes closed?
I don't remember.
Okay. How did it feel on your foot when you stood up?
Honestly, I wasn't really thinking about it. I know it hurt, but my adrenaline was on fire.
After you got up, what was the very first thing you did?
I think I told Lily to go to the room. I found my phone and I called my parents. We had kind of separated at that point.
Did you go back in the bedroom or where did you go?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I just know I had my phone and then I saw them go out onto the balcony. And that was my moment. I locked them out. I had my parents call the police.
So I just want to backtrack a little bit. So you grab your phone and you see them go on the balcony.
Yeah,
And how did you lock them out?
I used the deadbolt.
Okay. Why did you do that?
He was gonna hurt me again. I mean,
And then you said you called your parents.
yeah,
Okay. Why didn't you call the police?
because he could break through that glass and take my phone.
Did your parents call the police?
They did.
Okay. Did Mr. Byer call the police as well?
Yes,
Okay. Did you see him on the phone when he was on the balcony?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. How long were they out on the balcony?
Not very long. When my parents were on the phone with the police, they told me to let them back in and that they were on their way. So I did because help was already on the way.
And when you let them back in, what did Mr. Byer do?
I think I don't actually remember.
Okay. Did he and his daughter stay in the apartment or go
I
somewhere
think
else?
they might have left while the police were showing up.
And I'm sorry, I just want to backtrack a little bit and talk about the spacing. When you were on the floor, which rooms were you laying outside of?
I was outside, directly outside of my bedroom and just down the hall from Lily. Like if she were to open her door, she sees my room, the linen closet,
Okay.
and the bathroom's right next to her.
What did you say to Mr. Byer after this happened and you got up?
I said, you guys need to get out. I was like, you guys need to get out. Like round up and go. But he wouldn't.
What was his demeanor like at this point?
scary and kind of like erratic, like one side of the apartment to the other, just pacing. It was very fast and violent.
Did you approach MJ in any way?
I don't think so, other than saying like, you got to get out, like you need to leave. She was trying to support her dad, which I understand, but I was like, at first I was okay with letting MJ stay.
Did you threaten her in any way?
No, I just said get out. I said I was gonna call the police, so I mean,
When the police first come, where did you first see the police officers?
at my door.
Okay. Were you still on the phone at the time?
Can't remember.
Okay. Without saying what you said, did you talk to them about what happened?
I did vaguely. They really didn't want to talk to me. They seemed to believe him more. And they believed that it was his apartment. And so the first police that got there really didn't have too much of an interest in me rather than just quieting the situation so they didn't have to do the paperwork.
And at that point, were you trying to get him arrested or just get him to
I
leave?
didn't, I mean, I loved this man. I just wanted to split amicably. So I believe I was honest about what happened, but I don't believe I was trying to press charges at that point because I knew what would happen to him.
And based on this, did the police take any actions?
No, they said stay separated. They can stay in the room and then in the morning they'll leave. And that was my thought, was they would just stay in the room together and then they would leave. But they didn't.
And what room did they agree to stay in?
I allowed for them to stay in my bedroom.
Okay. And when you say them, MJ and Mr. Byer,
Yeah.
where were you when they went back in the bedroom?
I was in the living room. I wasn't gonna move. I was gonna stay like that all night.
Okay. And where did Lily go?
I had Lily in the room locked in with her brothers.
Did Mr. Byer stay in the bedroom?
No.
Okay. Where did he come out to?
He took the TV remote and was gonna play some video games out in the living room. And I didn't want him out there because my kids are in the next room and I didn't want him to like hurt the pets, or I didn't want to be stuck in a bedroom with my 3 kids. No way out there. I'm 6 floors up. I wanted to be by the exit, by where I could potentially do something if I had to.
And so how were you feeling when he came out of the room?
Terrified. Scared for my life.
What did you do in response?
I called the police again.
And this time, did you call them directly or did you call your parents again?
I called them directly.
What did Mr. Byer do when you called the police?
I'm not totally sure.
Okay. Did he get on the phone at all?
Probably.
Okay.
Objection, a lack of knowledge.
Did police respond a second time?
Yes, I did.
And where did you interact with the police officers that time?
Upstairs.
Okay. Did you go down to speak to them at all?
Oh yeah, I do. In the elevator lobby at one point.
Do you remember speaking to an officer in that lobby area?
Kind of. I hit
Okay.
my head really hard.
Okay. How was your head feeling at that point?
Outer body. It like, if it makes sense, it kind of wasn't feeling, or maybe like time did that. But I think I was so fight. The adrenaline took really good care of me and staying, alert and with it.
When you were speaking to the officer, did you describe kind of where you felt you were injured?
Yeah.
Okay.
Said my foot got hurt. I said he hit my head.
Did the officer get a close look at what you were pointing to?
I don't think so, no.
Did he take any pictures of your injuries?
Not that I remember.
Okay. Um, at this point, did Mr. Byer still have a key to your apartment?
He stole my keys. Yeah. So I didn't have anything.
And did the officers go out and speak with him as well?
Yeah.
And what kind of did they agree should happen at that point?
He needed to leave and get a police assist to get his things.
Okay. Did he come back up to the apartment to grab anything?
I believe so. I believe MJ needed some things.
Okay. And
But
were the
they were
police
there.
present?
Yeah.
Okay. So did MJ and Mr. Byer leave at that point in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember around what time, or
No.
was it light out yet or still dark?
I think it was just starting to be light out.
Okay. Were you given a key back to your apartment?
No. I had my spare,
Okay.
but it wasn't with me at the time.
So after they leave, what did you do that next morning?
I took my kids to school. Then I drove straight to the hospital.
Do you remember what hospital you went to?
Honestly, no.
Okay.
Maybe Denver Health. I think that's right.
Do you remember
D-
being in a hospital in Denver?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does Denver have
did you
that
see?
many hospitals that you don't remember which hospital you go to? I mean, for me, that's a big deal, right? Going to the hospital? How do you not remember what hospital?
See a doctor there?
I did.
Okay. And did you talk about what happened?
I did.
Did he just ask her if she saw a doctor at the hospital? Is that what he just asked her?
I didn't disclose everything. But I did give, the basic gist of what had happened to me.
Why didn't you disclose everything?
I was scared. Kiefer made a lot of empty threats about me getting hurt if I said anything.
Objection.
Response?
Response what? She didn't say what her objection was. She just said objection. Don't you have to, follow that with a legal reason why you're objecting?
All right.
I think we can
I'll sustain
move
the
to strike.
objection.
You're going to
Sustain
sustain
the
what?
objection. The jury will disregard that last answer. Next question.
Did they take x-rays at the hospital?
Yes.
And was there concerns for your hardware being broken?
Yeah.
All right. Later that day, did you learn anything about a protection order?
I left the hospital because my head was really hurting. And I just wanted to eat something and take a shower. I went home and I ended up falling asleep. I don't know. I don't even remember putting myself to bed. It just happened and I woke up and I was in the shower and that's when there were really loud knocks on my door.
And who was at the door when you opened it?
Police officers.
And did they tell you to do anything?
I had to leave my home and my pets.
Okay. Was anyone there with the police officers?
It was MJ and Kiko
Okay.
with a protection order.
And did the officer tell you that he had a protection order against you?
Yes, sir.
And did they give you a copy of that protection order?
They did.
Okay. And what did he claim that you did to him in order to get the protection order?
Objection, relevance, and hearsay.
It goes to the alleged injuries he claimed.
Well, the defense has brought this issue up regularly, so I'll overrule on relevance. As to hearsay, it's a statement of party opponent. Overruled.
So if you're new here, this is Judge Eric Johnson, and you can only see him on this channel, and he just gets better and better. This is a trial, so we don't hear from him an awful lot. But when he has defendants in front of him, he's really, really good.
So what did he claim you did as part of getting this protection order?
I believe he said I hurt him and
This
I
is
scratched
Denver,
his arm.
Colorado.
Did you scratch his arm?
Absolutely.
Okay.
not.
And you mentioned that metal picture frame. Did that fall off the wall onto him during this encounter?
It did. And
My cat scratched my arm all the time.
It's one of those geometric metal pictures. So it's,
Okay.
pointy.
Did that picture frame break?
It cracked.
Okay. How is your foot feeling kind of at this point in the day?
It hurts every single day.
But the day after the incident, how was it feeling?
No, horrible. It was hurting really bad.
Were you walking in your boot that day?
Absolutely. Well, when they came to the apartment, I was in the shower. I didn't have my boot on at that point. So I don't even know if they let me put it on before I had to leave. I just kind of was forced to walk on it. But when you have adrenaline like that in your system, you're more focused on
Mm-hmm. So when you left the apartment that day, do you remember having the boot on or with you?
yeah, I know I had a boot with me. I'm not sure if I had it on. I remember really struggling to carry my bag to the car because it was hurting a lot. The police officer actually ended up carrying my bag for me because it was hard to walk.
Were your kids home at the time when you were removed from the apartment?
No.
What did you do next
Well,
to get your kids?
so it was Dad's week at that point after I had dropped the kids off. So I was focused more on getting myself looked at.
Where did you end up staying that evening?
My mom and my dad's all the way up in Castle Rock.
And about how far of a drive is that from your apartment in Denver?
It could be an hour 30 minutes. It kind of depends on the time of day. It was nighttime when I was removed from my home.
Okay. Were you able to drive even with your foot?
Barely. I didn't have a choice.
That next day on October 8th, did you go to see your foot doctor?
Yeah, I did.
And what's her name?
Lauren Mulchin.
Did you tell her what happened?
Yeah.
Did she take x-rays as well?
Yes.
Okay. And what did she recommend after she took those x-rays?
That I needed foot surgery and my hardware was now broken.
Okay. How soon after did you have surgery on that foot again?
A couple weeks, almost a month.
Okay. Then did she put in new hardware in your foot?
Yeah.
Okay. How was your head feeling the next day?
Bad.
Okay.
My head had been aching for close to 2 months after the incident, actually.
Did you have frequent headaches before the incident?
No.
Okay. What was your memory like in the day or two after the incident?
Bad. Lots of weird little mistakes. I kept feeling like I was falling. Like I would be standing totally straight and my head would feel like I was doing this, like falling forward.
Okay. After you went and saw Dr. Mulchin on October 8th, Did you end up going to the Rosandum Center here in Denver?
Yes, I did.
And why did you go there?
My hands were tied. I needed to be safe. He was going to keep tormenting me. I needed to be honest about who he was.
And I'll pause you right there. Did you decide to talk to police when you went to the center?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have a conversation with Detective Olasaba there?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you shown a photograph of Mr. Byer? Do you remember how you reacted when you saw that photograph? How did you react?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
Do you see Mr. Byer in the courtroom today?
Yes, sir.
Could you state where he is sitting in the courtroom and an item of clothing he's wearing?
Put a light blue shirt on.
And where is he sitting?
There.
Subject to cross, let the record reflect identification.
Record will reflect.
Regarding the protection order that was against you, what happened to that protection order?
It was when? After I had gotten mine?
No, did that protection order stay in place?
Yeah.
Were you eventually allowed to go back to your home?
Yeah.
Okay. Just one moment. So now we can listen. When the police initially responded, without saying what was said, but did you talk about the incident with what happened in the apartment?
How he woke me up?
No, just regarding the injuries.
Yes, of course.
And was it after you had gotten the protection order that you went to the doctor's office to see Dr. Molchan?
No.
Objection. I would ask to rephrase. That was
Overruled.
I went to the doctor before I got the protection order.
Oh, thank you for clarifying. And then you saw Dr. Molchan the next day.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Honestly, it took me a lot to speak up.
objection. This was not in response to a question.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'll sustain the objection.
Move to strike.
Or we'll disregard the last comment.
And then after you had went to all these doctor's appointments, is that when you decided that you should give a full report to the police so they knew what happened?
Yeah.
Okay. No further questions.
Can I go?
All right, ma'am, I'm going to go ahead and allow you to step down. We're going to take our lunch break. You are a testifying witness, so no one may speak to you about your testimony, okay?
Okay.
All right, so you may go ahead, and I'll just have you come back for 1:15, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, that was today. That's today. It's so hard with her because she's so not believable. You know what I mean? I believe that an incident happened. I believe he grabbed her foot. I believe he popped the hardware. I believe he did all that. I really do. But it's just so hard to believe what she says. There's a couple things that were like, really? Is that what you're really going to say? Really? You got into a fight with him and the scratches on his arm came from the picture frame? Come on, just say you were fighting him off or whatever. So I don't know. She's just, and her really soft voice. really soft voice makes her not believable. Come on, lady. Come on. You don't have to act like a 12-year-old on the stand like that. We all know you can get louder than that. We all know. So I believe that you know, he was controlling her just like she said. I believe that part. It's just hard with her. It's hard. Yeah. Can I go now? Oh, please, come on. Come on. Knock it off. Knock it off. So we'll see what the jury thinks. Because, you know, there's more. This, not today, but there is. Oh man, I took a screenshot of an issue and I just looked at it. I thought I was having that issue. Anyway, thank you for helping me fix my software, my new software. I still have to set up everything else in it. It's going to take me a bit to figure it all out. But at least we got a live stream in. It was bumpy, but we got a live stream in. Now, yeah, I can't set up OJ like I used to. I can. I'm working on it, Kelly. We are doing OJ today. I have to set it up quickly. It shouldn't take much time. I don't have an outro. I don't have an outro for today because I don't have it set up. But I'm gonna try to get that set up. I'm working on it, one thing at a time. At least we had a stream. I'll see you all later. Have a good day. Bye, guys. Oh no. The stop stream button is grayed out. How am I supposed to stop the stream? Well, guys, from now on, this is a 24/7, 365-day stream because I don't know how to turn it off. I have an idea.